This is Molly Gallagher, Radnor Township Public Information Officer. Like many Pennsylvanians during this unprecedented time, the Radnor Township staff has done our best to remain operational and meet the needs of our community during this challenging time. As we approach the warm summer months ahead, we are excited to share with you some of the programming and events being offered by the Township. In this latest installment of Radnor Township Department Spotlight series, we are saying a hello to the Radnor Township Department of Recreation and Community Programming, led by Director Tammy Cohen, and a big thank you for the innovative programming you have developed for our community to enjoy during the COVID-19 pandemic. Your ability to discover new ways to help our community recreate was a real asset during months of social distancing.
My name is Tammy Cohen, and I'm the Director of Recreation and Community Programming, and I have been here for 21 years.
Awesome. Thank you for your service, and thank you for joining us today to share with our community a bit about the Department of Recreation and Community Programming. So my first question for you is, can you please talk to us a little bit about some of the current projects and facility updates going on here in Radnor?
Sure. So from a parks perspective, there actually have been a lot of exciting things that have been going on for the last few years. The township actually issued a bond back in late 2015 specific to park and trail improvements. So we've been working through that process over the last several years, and we saw some really great projects come to fruition. Clem McCrone Park had gotten a full renovation, comprehensive site-wide. We also had some major improvements that took place over at Beauconner Park and Warren Philippone Park, where we saw some of the upgrades happen there with the parking lots, of course, the tennis courts and the ball fields. We also, over at Emlyn Tennell Park, we just installed a much needed and long time desired comfort station. So we are looking forward over the next couple of months, maybe considering the grand openings for those last two. I know that through the pandemic that has been a difficult thing, but those have been some very exciting projects that have improved facilities that really have not engaged improvements for 20, 30 plus years at those respective sites.
Can you share with us a little bit about the current offerings coming out of the Department of Recreation?
Sure. So from a service standpoint, there's really a broad spectrum of parks and recreation services that we provide, really ranging from everything going on in the parks, from the operations, the rules and the policies and things, which are always being relooked at, the scheduling and the usage, of course. We have a huge network of community sports and civic users that use the park spaces, so we oversee and schedule all of that. We also interface closely with a lot of organizations like the Willows Park Preserve on usage that occurs in the Willows. We also oversee, obviously, the parks and recreation programming and the recreational programming and events that take place during the course of a year, with a lot of things that go on seasonally, routine annual activities and things that go on that range from large community activities with thousands of people who attend. Obviously during the pandemic, that has been tempered quite a bit, to more focused programs that only have, small amounts of folks that attend. So we also, behind all the programming and recreation and really the parks, we oversee the marketing of those spaces, the advertising, information that goes out on the website, stuff that we provide and try and get into the hands of the folks in the community by using our social media platform as well, along with also, paper flyers and things like that actually still go out to people to promote what's going on. We also are behind some of the funding that goes into these activities that take place. So, not only is it setting fee schedules and things for routine programs that are occurring, but also we have a pretty robust sponsorship program that occurs as well, where we interface with a lot of community businesses and organizations who try to build their own presence and exposure through the community events and through some of the programs that take place. So really, again, a large spectrum of things that are going on. There's also a lot of other projects and things that happen too behind the scenes, but really all of the parks and recreation services that are out there for the residents.
You guys are clearly so busy, such an important department here. During COVID specifically, as we're speaking, it's late April. Right now, what protocols and changes have we made within our parks and public spaces for safety, and what do you see forthcoming over the summer?
We really had to be careful of indoor spaces. As a matter of fact, last year we really limited to no indoor spaces. So when we ran Radnor Day Camp, we had it outdoors at 2 park locations, just so folks could be outside and not, obviously in some, tight environment where people, air molecules and everything are sort of, all floating around closely, with one another. So although that has evolved quite a bit, this summer we'll be running Radnor Day Camp at Radnor Activity Center, obviously with social distancing and also meeting some minimum occupancy requirements that now exist. So we will be able to sort of expand a little bit and open up to get to a little bit more normalcy. But some of the policies and procedures that have really been key are assessing folks before they attend programs. So that's been really important, making sure that we do things like symptom checks, exposure checks, things like that are very important. So those will all continue. Mask wearing is also something that's very important right now. Until, when or if that changes, obviously we'll evolve accordingly. But wearing a mask while being engaged in all of our programs is something that we do require, whether you're indoors or you're outdoors. And we also do temperature assessments for a lot of the programs before you can even come onto the activity area or playing surface. We are requiring temperature checks, which are vital. And then overall, with regards to some of the larger programs like day camp that would happen over a longer period of time, we're still engaging in cohorting, which is basically keeping groups together in pods so that they're not overlapping. That way, if there is some type of an exposure that happens, we're not, shutting down the whole camp or, having folks have to quarantine from the whole portion of the camp, but just in smaller segments. Cleaning is something that's been really critical. We work closely with the Public Works Department in all of our park spaces to make sure heavily touched surfaces are wiped down more frequently than what they used to be. Obviously, and using different types of sanitizers and things like that are really important. And then over at Radnor Activity Center, we've worked with our cleaning company, of course, to put together more vigorous routines to make sure surfaces and fixtures and things are cleaned more routinely. We also engage in some different filtration methods with our HVAC systems to help improve the air quality and move the air quality through the building and filter it more, just to take extra precautions. But we do see these types of procedures lingering for a while, and we've been ready to pivot and move on a dime if we need to. We also know that programs may need to shut down very quickly or may need to relocate very quickly, so we've been poised to make those decisions quickly to be able to make the changes that are needed for the health and safety of the community.
How do you determine what programming will be a success here in Radnor?
Sure, so it kind of comes from a myriad of processes. Being here for 20 years, I've had the opportunity to meet and engage with so many residents. So I kind of understand a good bit about their interests, their wants, their desires, the things they're looking for, and also their trends in participation. And then also being out at a lot of the programs and a lot of the events allows members of our department and our team the opportunity to engage with others and hear, the things that they're learning about or they're interested in. And then we kind of take that and, we sort of build that into a scope of, what we think might work. So then we sometimes, we trial and error, try new things, put them out there, see how they go. But some of it is a little bit more methodic. We do look at recreational trends that are happening in the industry. We look at the things that are happening not only locally, here on the main line and in the area, the region, of Pennsylvania that we live in, but we also look at it nationwide. We belong to some networks with regards to programming and community events through the NRPA, which is the National Recreation and Parks Association. So we have an ability to kind of network and learn about trends, learn about different activities that people are doing and trying new things. We've also seen some sports on the rise, or some activities, if you will, come on the rise nationally, like pickleball. So pickleball has been something that has really grown in terms of numbers exponentially, and not just at the adult level, but really at the teen and youth level as well. So that's something that has grown also here in Radnor, and we've planned for it. You know, when we redid the floor at Radnor Activity Center a few years ago, you know, we went from, you know, having a floor that was lined for, you know, basketball and tennis and, you know, some of your conventional sports, but we also lined it for pickleball, and we lined it for 4 courts so that we could make that accommodation as an indoor opportunity and space. We also saw over the last few years where when we had renovations at Clemmer-Crone and Warren Philippone, we renovated those spaces in order to be able to accommodate pickleball as well, which has been a sport that not only was a trend, but has really kind of landed and is here to stay. So, you know, we do look at a lot of different things. It's not really willy-nilly. There's a thought process that goes to it. We actually work off of a strategic plan every year. I usually sit down with staff at the end of the year, and we start to think about our accomplishments that happened in that year, and then we start to forecast, okay, like what are some of the things we want to try in the new year? What are some of these new trends, these new ideas and thoughts that we have, or, you know, new things that we sort of learned in terms of interest by residents and things that they've told us, and you know, we start to build that and put that together.
In all of this research and all this programming development, obviously you have a great dedicated team. Can you tell us what you most enjoy about supervising your staff?
Well, my staff are a great group. You know, we are a small but mighty group with 4 people. But they're a great team. I cannot say enough about them. They're dedicated, they're committed to the residents, and they really enjoy being out there in the programs, running the programs, being with folks, and hearing from the residents, and then obviously being able to have that success that, you know, they anticipate. They thrive on that. And I feel like that's a great motivator and builds them so much, and it's kind of a constant cycle that I see in them, and a passion that just thrives in them, and they're very dedicated to the residents and what they do. They're mindful of safety, they're mindful of procedures and protocols, which is something that can be sometimes difficult because we have a lot of other folks that run programming for us, a lot of part-time staff, a lot of contracted staff that folks really don't see. And we work together to oversee them, and sometimes it's hard to have them do things you want them to do and you're not there, or you can't be there, and essentially like be us when we can't be us. And that's one of the things that the staff does really well, is trying to mentor that and trying to, you know, instill that. And there's philosophies and cultures that I feel, you know, they have really adapted, that they're able to go out and make sure that those happen, you know, within the community, because that's the front face of what everybody sees, and our staff do an amazing job at that.
So now in 2021 and 2020, the Radnor Township Recreation and Community Programming Department received 2 separate awards. Can you talk to us about those awards and really what they mean to your department?
Well, anytime you receive an award, obviously by a professional organization, is a really exciting thing and a really exciting time, you know, to be proud. It gives an opportunity to show off Radnor Township to other local townships and communities throughout the state, which with the awards that we won, they were state-based awards from the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society. So that's something for us. Not only does it kind of bolster the things that we're doing. So with these 2 particular awards, one was for the Night at the Ballpark Wiffle Ball Classic event that we have done for many, many years. The other was, of course, for the scavenger hunt over at the Willows on the Park and Trail for Halloween. The Willows Spooktacular, of course, Park and Trail scavenger hunt, which we did during the pandemic. It gives a chance to also inspire recreation out there in other communities. So I see, you know, us being able to take a lot of our creativity and, you know, time that we put into the things that we've done, and then not only share that with other communities and, you know, give a chance to pat ourselves on the back, but also inspire others to offer that type of recreation as well.
Well, we're so proud to say we have an award-winning Department of Recreation, so congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for providing our community with exciting and innovating services, and we look forward to seeing you this summer out and about in Radnor.
Thank you.
Thank you.